Here on the Mr. Snook channel, I've already shared over 120 mission facts with you, and I've noticed this is the kind of video you really enjoy, and honestly, I love creating this type of content too. So, to keep bringing you this awesome material, today I'm back with another video packed with mission facts from GTA 5. If you're already familiar with the channel, drop a like to show your support. And if you're new here and haven't seen this series yet, I recommend starting by clicking the link below. No more wasting time, let's dive right in. The first mission we're going to talk about is the Wrapup. This is the only mission in the game where we can see a body part being blown off by gunfire. Specifically, I'm talking about the shot Agent Sanchez takes from Steve Haynes after betraying him. Even though it leaves a huge hole in Sanchez's head, his face stays completely intact, as if he never got shot, which obviously doesn't make any sense, guys. Another interesting detail is the shot Steve Haynes takes in the leg. He gets hit in the exact same leg where he faked a gunshot wound during the mission monkey business. For those who don't remember, at the end of that mission, Steve shoots himself in the leg to buy some time and pretends to be a double agent. When he gets shot in the Wrap-Up, he even mentions that it's the same leg, something most people probably didn't notice. In this mission, it's also possible to kill Agent ULP. However, his death isn't canon, as he later shows up in the GTA Online DLCs. Now let's talk about the Bureau Raid. In this mission, there's a setup mission where you're supposed to follow an architect through a construction site, take him down at the top, and grab his briefcase. However, what many people don't know is that you can simply shoot him and take the briefcase and the mission won't fail, making everything much faster. Of course, this will give you a 3-star wanted level, but escaping the cops is super easy and it'll save you a ton of time. It's definitely worth trying. If you choose the firefighter option for the heist, you can bump into TVs inside the building's rooms. Behind the FIB logo, you'll see the name Kiflon, suggesting that the Epsilon program has infiltrated the FIB. There's also a theory that the FIB building had way more explosives or flammable materials in the room where the explosion happens. This is because the 2 sticky bombs you place in the firefighter option trigger a massive chain of explosions, implying there was something else amplifying the damage. It's pretty wild considering it's almost impossible for just 2 bombs to take out the entire place like that. If you choose the rooftop option and hire an inexperienced, low-skilled driver, you'll have to escape a 4-star wanted level, making the mission's ending much more intense with heavy shootouts. However, if you hire a skilled driver, they'll show up with an ambulance, allowing you to escape without attracting any attention. It's interesting that while most players prefer hiring the best crew, choosing a bad driver makes the mission's finale a lot more thrilling. Now, about the mission Legal Trouble. In it, Molly takes the last copy of the movie Meltdown to prevent its release. Michael chases after her and Molly ends up in a fatal accident. So far, so good. The funny part is that after all of this, Michael finds out that wasn't actually the last copy of the movie. Solomon calls him and reveals they have digital backups and the release will happen anyway, making Molly's death completely pointless. She literally died for nothing. Pretty crazy, right?
I loved you once, Tony, but there's nothing between us. Now that I know you prefer dictation.
Really? We're doing this now? I just watched Devin Weston's legal counsel get juiced in a jet engine.
Oh, that Molly woman? Oh, Lord, that's horrible.
You have no idea. She panicked, went crazy, and ran into it. But I saved the print, so we still got our movie.
You believe that analog thing? It's all digital. We have backups everywhere. I mean, we're shooting on green screen.
Well, you could have told me.
I'm sorry. Look, I thought you knew. The edit's nearly done, and we've got to get it out before they can screw us again.
This mission also has a unique feature. The airplane traffic on the runway is completely unusual. During the mission, you can see planes landing and taking off at a much higher frequency than in regular gameplay. This was clearly done to make the mission more exciting and dynamic, but it's a noticeable difference compared to the usual air traffic behavior in the game. It even brings back memories of the older versions of the game, like on the PlayStation 3, where airplane traffic used to be more frequent. During the chase, you can see a plane on fire. To clarify, there wasn't any accident there. It's actually a training area for the fire department, similar to what also exists in GTA Vice City. In Vice City, there was a building with burn marks that many players thought was a site where multiple people had died, but it was actually a firefighter training facility. And here's something I'm sure many of you didn't know. Even if you use a mod or glitch to get ahead of Molly near the plane, the outcome of the mission doesn't change. Molly will still get sucked into the airplane turbine no matter what, and the mission won't fail. Even if you stand right next to her, the scripted cutscene will play out, showing that the turbine wasn't actually pulling anything in. The scene was entirely programmed for her to throw herself into the turbine and die no matter what she does. It's wild. In the mission Lamar Down, there's a detail that went unnoticed by many people, even by me, until I came across this information while researching Curiosities online. There's a continuity error in the mission's cutscene. When we see Lamar being taken by the ballast through the binoculars, he's wearing his usual outfit, jeans, and a green shirt. However, when we finally find him after taking down most of the enemies, he's suddenly wearing a black shirt and beige pants. This outfit change is never explained, and it seems to be a design error in the mission. Even 10 years later, people are still finding mistakes in the game. It's incredible. Another interesting detail is that after rescuing Lamar, while driving back with him and Franklin, if you hit a police car, Lamar will start shooting at the cops for no apparent reason. This instantly raises your wanted level significantly, which can make finishing the mission more challenging. Now, talking about the big score and the subtle approach, there's a curious fact. No matter what you do, you'll always end up $300,000 short. That's because Michael pays Casey to help with the heist and keep quiet. Another interesting detail is that in this same strategy, the ID card Trevor uses for identification not only has a photo that doesn't match his face, but is also expired. This raises a question. Did the bank manager realize they were robbers but chose not to react out of fear, or was it just a game oversight? Additionally, another question comes up. If it wasn't a mistake, why did Lester prepare an ID that was already expired? If you hire a poor, inexperienced driver for this heist, they'll get stuck during the final escape, causing you to lose 25% of the total money you earned. However, there's a trick. If you quickly blow up the police cars around them, they'll manage to escape, and the mission won't fail. Although they won't join you in the final truck, the driver still delivers the money later. This suggests that they successfully lost the cops and brought the gold bars directly to Lester. Now, about the loud approach, this is the only heist in the game where we see Lester actually in action. He takes down 2 helicopters with a rocket launcher while being in another helicopter midair. This impressed a lot of players since many thought he wasn't capable of pulling off such bold moves. It's an epic scene. If you hire a poor, inexperienced driver to pilot the second helicopter, they'll be shot down by Merryweather, causing you to lose $100 million from the heist. Unlike the first tactic, this loss is irreversible, so be careful when choosing your pilot, as it could cost you a huge amount of money. At the end of this mission, we see that Trevor is still deeply hurt by Michael. When Michael is celebrating and goes in for a hug, Trevor blocks him and refuses to let it happen. Another difference in the maximum profit you can make from this final heist between the two approaches is nearly $10 million per character, making the loud option much more appealing. Personally, I prefer the first option. I find it much more well crafted and engaging. However, since the crew is larger, you end up spending more money, leaving less for the protagonists in the end. So it really depends on what you think is best, guys. Let's talk about the deaths of the characters in order. First, let's discuss Trevor's death. In this mission, Franklin seems far more determined to kill Trevor compared to the mission to kill Michael. When Trevor arrives, Franklin already looks angry, holding his gun, and immediately starts making threats. At the end of this mission, Trevor's money is split between Michael and Franklin because supposedly Lester couldn't locate Trevor and has no suspicions at that point. If you don't shoot Trevor within about 20 seconds while he's on the ground, Michael will pull out his gun and shoot him himself. Even though Michael arrives at this mission driving a blue car that ends up exploding when it hits Trevor, we see him leaving in his regular car at the end of the mission. It's a strange inconsistency that doesn't make any sense, considering Michael arrived in the blue car, not his own. So who left his car there, or how did he know exactly where they were headed? Now let's move on to Michael's death. In this mission, even if you press the button to try and save him, you won't be able to. Michael will headbutt Franklin and throw himself to his death. At the end of this mission, Lester is already suspicious. Unlike Trevor's case, Michael's money isn't split between Franklin and Trevor. Instead, it's entirely transferred to Michael's family. Even if you shoot Michael multiple times, he won't die. He's essentially in an immortal limbo, meaning the game forces you to reach the end of the mission to watch the final cutscene. Killing him earlier simply isn't possible. Here's one I think almost nobody noticed. At the end of this mission, Franklin calls Lamar, and Lamar says a phrase about betrayal that's very similar to what Michael told Franklin, almost like a wise man's words. One day, your legs give out, and you can't walk anymore. Michael says this line to Franklin after being rescued in the Fresh Meat mission, when he explains what happened in North Yankton early in the story.
Look, you wake up one day, and your legs, they just give. You just can't run anymore.
All right, man, look. You watch your back, all right? You just start running and shit, then all of a sudden your legs give and you just can't run no more. Anyway, man.
Without a doubt, very few people picked up on this parallel. The last curiosity about Michael's death is that immediately after his death, his house is put up for sale, even before anyone contacts you about it. A lot of things change after Michael and Trevor's deaths. The house is suddenly listed for sale, and none of Michael's family members can be found anymore. Last but not least, we have Option C. After Franklin picks up Lamar to help with the Option C mission, there's a strange detail. After the shootout where you save Lamar, he simply disappears. It's unclear how he got home since he arrived with Franklin in the first place. The only way to confirm he's alive is when Franklin calls him after the mission, giving us that reassurance. Although many players, including me, thought it was necessary to kill Steve Haynes with a sniper, it's not the only way. A well-aimed RPG shot also does the job, and it even triggers a slightly different cutscene. It's possible to reach Devin Weston without alerting any guards. All you need is a sniper rifle with a silencer. Take them out one by one without being noticed. When you reach Devin, he'll be startled and run straight into the trunk of the car. With all the guards eliminated, the cutscene will play out as usual. In this mission, we end up killing Stretch, which Michael actually considers unnecessary. He only goes along with it to supposedly satisfy Trevor's thirst for blood. However, Stretch's death is actually 100% necessary. If you don't kill him, like in option A or B where Trevor or Michael dies, Stretch keeps an eye on Lamar throughout the game. As a result, you can't hang out with Lamar during the day anymore, only at night because he's constantly hiding from Stretch. When we kill Wei Cheng, it's also possible to kill his son, Tao Cheng. However, Tao's death is not canon as we see him alive in GTA Online DLCs. At the end of the mission, there's a unique moment where we control all three protagonists at once. This happens when you push the car with Devin Weston in it. Even though the character selection menu shows that you're controlling Trevor, when you actually start moving, it feels like you're using all three characters simultaneously. I thought this was a really cool touch for a finale, being able to control all three protagonists in unison. And guys, in this video series, I've already shared over 150 incredible facts about GTA 5 missions, and this part took a lot of effort to create. So please make sure to check out the latest part by clicking on the video linked by the arrow. I'm sure you're going to love it. And that's today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care and bye.